We're glad to have you back, and on stories from around the world, a U.S. federal appeal court has rejected President Donald Trump's attempts to reinstate his ban on citizens from 7 mainly Muslim countries. The Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said it would not block a ruling by a Seattle court that halted the other. Mr. Trump responded on a tweet saying national security was at risk and there would be a legal challenge, has made people to wonder he intended to file an appeal to the Supreme Court or keep fighting the case in Seattle. However, the ruling does not affect one part of Mr. Trump's controversial executive order, a cap of 50,000 refugees to be admitted in the current fiscal year, down from the ceiling of 110,000 established under his predecessor, Barack Obama. In its 3-0 unanimous ruling on Thursday, the appeals court said the government had not proved the terror threat justified reviving the ban. The court also said there was no evidence that any alien from any of the countries named in the order had committed a terror attack in the U.S. The ruling means that the people from Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen with visas can continue to enter the U.S., and refugees from around the world were also subject to temporary ban and no longer blocked either. Over 100 people have reportedly been killed in Brazil over several days of anarchy as police forces have been on strike and unavailable. A spokeswoman for the union representing the police said that the absence of some 1,800 state police forces over the past 6 days has led to a wave of violence in the state of Espírito Santo, where 101 instances of homicides were registered. Chaos mostly hit the state's capital, Vitória, and schools and businesses remained closed and public transportations frozen. Meanwhile, the Brazilian army, which has taken over to provide the state security since Wednesday, mobilized hundreds of troops and armored vehicles on Thursday to help establish order. Officials said that hundreds of more federal troops and members of federal police force were needed to help establish order in the state. Authorities fear strikes could spread to other Brazilian states, including Rio de Janeiro, which is due to host one of the world's biggest festivals in 3 weeks. The police union says its members have not received a raise in 4 years. A Brazilian court has declared the walkout illegal. Nevertheless, Brazil is currently facing a nationwide budget crisis, which is blamed largely on the government. The government of President Michel Temer, which took over after elected President Dilma Rousseff was ousted in by impeachment last year, is currently under fire for corruption. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has called for an immediate cessation of the Israeli regime's settlement expansion activities in the occupied Palestinian lands. The remarks come as Israel has stepped up its settlement activities in recent weeks despite a UN resolution that calls on Israel to halt its construction of settler units. Israel's High Planning Council approved the plan, which includes construction of units in a new settlement near the existing Shivat Rachel settlements, located 45 kilometers north of Jerusalem. Late on Monday, the Israeli Knesset parliament voted 60 to 52 to pass a controversial bill that retroactively legalizes thousands of settlers' homes built on privately owned Palestinian land in the occupied West Bank. The Palestinian Liberation Organization later slammed the new law as a means to legalize theft of Palestinian lands. Security Council Resolution 2334 calls on Israel to immediately and completely cease all settlement activities in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem, Al-Quds. It also stated that Israel's settlement construction has no legal validity and constitutes a flagrant violation under international law. About 600,000 Israelis live in over 230 illegal settlements built since 1967, Israeli occupation of the Palestinian territories of the West Bank and East Jerusalem, Al-Quds. The Palestinian Authority wants the West Bank as part of a future independent Palestinian state, with East Jerusalem, Al-Quds as its capital. And now on some entertainment news.